What's up, YouTube? Jaden Mack here from Mackmedia Productions. And recently, I was given an opportunity to interview the creators of The Proud Family and The Proud Family Louder and Prouder. This opportunity came to HBCU students or HBCU journalists who was looking to get another interview under their belt. And luckily, I was able to be a part of the experience. Before we get into the interview, I just want to give a big shout out to all the parties involved. And I just want to say that I'm truly grateful and thankful for being a part of this. And hopefully, I could be a part of more press conferences in the future. Lastly, all Mackmedia content is now available on all social media platforms, including YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and now Facebook. All links will be in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Intentions for the interview. For me personally, coming into the interview, I already knew that there was going to be a variety of questions asked and a variety of answers given in response. So coming in, I asked questions that geared towards helping small content creators, not only content creators such as social media content creators, but content creators in the form of those who inspire to create their own cartoons or their own TV shows as well. And with that, let's get into it. The first set of responses that we're going to look into are the responses to the question, what inspired the Proud Family? When asked this question, the animator and creator Bruce W. Smith had to say this.
At that time, the landscape of the animated sitcom was basically permeated with shows like, Simpsons, Family Guy, King of the Hill, American Dad. And I just knew that the only missing component to that landscape was an African-American family.
The original Proud Family was created because there are no black animated sitcoms on air at the time. And seeing this, Bruce decided to come up with the idea of the Proud Family. Soon after coming up with the idea, Bruce soon received a call from a Disney executive asking him what were his plans with the show and that they would greenlight the show as long as he got Ralph Farquhar on board.
I got a random call one time from one of the Disney execs asking me, what am I doing with this Proud Family thing? I was at the studio working on Emperor's New Groove or something like that at the time. Long story short was, hey, listen, we love what you've done with it, and what do you want to do with it ultimately? I said, well, I want the show to be written like a Simpsons or Family Guy. I mean, I want some real true writing to really define the world and the characters. And I said, let's show like Moesha. And they just told me straight up, you get Ralph and we'll give you the green light.
Bruce then goes on to say how adding on Ralph Farquhar to the Proud Family was the last step it needed in order for it to be successful.
So laid all the parts on the runway. Ralph saw the potential of what it could be. I think Ralph was looking for a new challenge. And it just simply made sense because Ralph had the formula for creating, creative sitcoms that, fell right into the Black diaspora. And so, just molding those two things together is the key ingredient for the Proud Family.
I know what you're thinking. If Disney liked the idea so much, why did they tell Bruce that he needed to go, he needed contact with Ralph Farquhar in order for them to greenlight the show? And that is because Ralph has a big history or a successful history in creating sitcoms, such as Moesha, The Parkers, and South Central. The next set of responses we are going to look at is in response to the question, what advice do you have for others who aspire to create their own animated series, cartoons, or TV shows? With this question, there wasn't a set response I was looking for because the question was so open-ended, but this is what the duo had to say.
I didn't necessarily have designs on creating my own show. I just simply wanted to be really good at what I do.
Bruce then goes on to explain how his past trials help contribute to the success of his future projects.
And so that came with years of failing, right? And working on some great projects and working on some crappy projects. But all the time really trying to understand and learn the craft.
Bruce and Ralph further go on to explain how you can never truly master the craft of creating, but you can improve your ability to create.
I got a random call one time from one of the Disney execs asking me, what am I doing with this Proud Family thing? I was at the studio working on Emperor's New Groove.
Well, the duo said next is what really caught my attention. They said when they both work on series, they like to bring in people who fill in the areas that they lack in. They bring in people whose strengths are their weaknesses and vice versa to help each other grow.
Surround myself with people who knew more about storytelling than I did. That's when I found Ralph and we meshed, and I'm finding with people who fill in a lot of gaps that I was really short on. And surrounding yourself with people who know more than you, really what it comes down to. I'm not afraid to say that. And I think that that's where I learned from a lot of people who just kind of knew more and just kind of really helped uh, install elements in me that made me more of a complete artist. And I'm not even there yet.
This caught my attention because it shows the importance of having a team around you whenever you're creating something, whether it's something for social media or a big network television show. It's always good to have people around you because you may not always necessarily be the best person for the job. You may not be the best editor. You may not be the best thumbnail maker, etc. But there are people who are. So having those people on your team will ultimately help the project as a whole be better. This last snippet I'm going to play for you guys is my personal favorite advice throughout the whole press conference. The advice that was given was from Ralph Farquhar, and he told us that in order for people to create better stories, create better shows, and things of that nature, you actually have to go out and live a life. And he says this because that you aren't able to tell stories if you have no stories to tell. Take a listen.
Being a storyteller, I think the biggest asset for me was to have a life. So
Because you got to have something to tell. You got to have a story to tell.
I know a lot of folks are in college, and if you come out and you tell your stories, unless you're a savant, typically you're going to tell the stories of your own experience. So that's believe it or not, that's a very limited point of view at 1921.
Well, your experiences lead a lot into what you guys write about.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
like, and it's wild because you didn't think an experience would actually even come to this in terms of like, I can actually tell the story.
Yeah,
Because I actually lived this. So I actually am informed on where this story could go.
exactly.
And
Those are the best stories.
Yeah, live your life while you're trying to find your craft. Live a life that you actually, because stories come from truth. The most honest, best stories told comes from the truth.
Yep, that's it. Live your life. That's the lesson of today.
So this is post-production, and I decided to create a list of the things I decided to take away, or the things that I just happened to take away from this interview. These are in no particular order. So here you go. The first thing on the list is start now, perfect later. One of the things I picked up while listening to the entirety of the press conference is that you just need to start your idea. There's no reason why you should be trying to perfect everything day one. Everything needs work. Even shows you watch now improve over time throughout the season, throughout the episodes. Your content should be no different. Whether you're making Instagram shorts or IG reels, that's the same thing. Whether you're making TikToks or IG reels, start now and perfect it while you're working through it. That is actually something I had to take, something I had to learn myself while editing this video. Ironically, is that nothing's going to be perfect the first time through. You have to learn and gain experience in order to perfect your craft. The second idea is the idea you're sitting on right now could be making you millions and you don't even know it. I say this to say this. I say this to say that Ralph himself said that the Disney executive said, "Hey, what are you going to do with the show? We like the idea." And he was pretty much just sitting on the idea for who knows how long. And the same thing could be with whatever you're planning. So, listen to step one. Start now, perfect later. Number 3, having a team around you while you're producing and putting out content, whether it's an animated series or something such as YouTube, having a team around you can improve the quality of work all around. And I say that because nobody's perfect at everything. There's not one person who's perfect with everything in life, whether it's editing video, playing sports, etc. So you may be the best person on your team, or you may be the best person in your city at editing videos and making edits and stuff like that, but you may have trouble making thumbnails or story writing or camera work in general. So it's always helpful to have other people around that you can learn from and benefit. You help them, like you scratch their back, they scratch yours type of thing. Number 4, the more life experiences that you have, the better your content will be. And I'll say this because not only just with this interview, but with other content as well, being able to pull things from your personal life helps bring whatever you're creating to life, ironically. Whether it's like, look at artists. Artists usually take like a year or two off in between albums. They have to live more life and get more experiences to talk from. And it becomes something else. I don't know how to put it into words, but when you put your heart and soul, like something that you lived into something, I feel like it develops into its own thing instead of you just making things up as you go, if you get what I'm saying. Number 5, have a purpose in the content you are creating. Now, this show, The Proud Family and Proud Family Louder and Prouder, was originally based on a vacancy within the animated sitcom world. There were no black animated sitcoms on air at the time. So the two creators, Bruce and Ralph, decided, hey, the world needs this, and they gave it out, and it just happened to blow up. You have to, whenever you create something, you have to have a purpose. You have to fill in a vacancy. Like if there was, say, if the creators wasn't African American, they just wanted to make another sitcom, it would have just filled in already saturated space. Like no offense to Bob's Burgers or anything like that, but look at the shows on Fox. You have The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad. And then on top of that, you have other shows like Bob Burgers, and there at one point in time you had the Cleveland Show. It's already such a saturated area that it's kind of hard to break through if you aren't doing anything innovative or doing anything new. Number 6, it's okay to fail. That's something I'm still learning myself. I wish you guys could have seen seeing the trials and tribulations I went while editing this video. And I could just say it's okay to fail. You learn through failing. Ironically, like the duo said, that you have to fail in order to learn. You learn by failing. Whether you fall, at least you're falling forward. That's the best thing I could say. And everything's not going to be perfect, but we touched on that point already. 7, you can always do better. This is something I'm still working on myself, but you can always do better. Like you may think that you're really good at doing one thing, but you can always take it to the next level. And in this context, I'm referring to them saying that you can't perfect the skill of creating, but you can perfect, or you can increase your ability, or you can increase how well you create something. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You may not be able to perfect a certain thing. There's no such thing as perfect, or there's no such realistic thing as perfect, but you could get to, you can, what? Did my thing just die? Wow. This is the perfect example of it's okay to fail. Mid recording, the tripod, the gimbal I use to hold my phone just completely died on me. So now I got my phone set up on something else to finish this. But you can always be better. You can always be better. It's okay to fail. Start now, perfect later. We're going through it right now through this recording. It's real life lessons. I'm not just talking to y'all, I promise. And the last point I want to make is live life. It's okay to take breaks from whatever you're creating to go live a normal life per se. It's okay to put the phone down, put the camera down, put the pen and pad down. Just go live life for a little bit, and in return, your work will be better because you'll be more motivated to do it. When you sit and work on something all day, your brain starts to get fried. It's like a computer. If you run it for too long, it's going to start to slow down. So it's okay to take breaks in between what you're creating. It's not going to be the end of the world, I promise. And that's pretty much it. I hope you all enjoyed the interview. Once again, I just want to give a big shout out to all the parties that made this possible. I do wish to be a part of something like this in the future. Now, before you click out this video, there is a link in my description. It says Linktree. It's like Linktree slash or link slash EE slash Mackmedia Productions or whatever. Click on that and you'll be able to find all my social media accounts, all my YouTube channels, and things of that nature. And yeah, with that said, this has been Jaden from Mackmedia, and thank you for tuning in.